All right, over here on the right side of the map, the challenger on the team MVP. He is
MVP King.
Probably keen on tying up the score, would you say? Unstable, give me the facepalm. Over here at the top left, a member of the team OGSTL. He is
oGs Nada.
Nada. I like their new shirts, the OGS shirts. It makes it seem like more of a partnership with TL, because that partnership kind of doesn't get as much attention as it really should. Now, using the name OGSTL as well, I really like. Those kind of partnerships do start happening a lot more in esports. We saw ZenX, for example, a combination of Zenith and Nex. You know, who knows? There might be more partnerships in the future for StarCraft 2 and esports. So it looks like right off the bat, we're going to see a gas first from Keen. And actually, no, it's a gas first from both of these guys.
Yeah, it is. Like you were saying, both these guys are both Code S caliber players. They have everything under their belt. It really comes down to what they've decided to use right here, right now. And it could be anything from either of them. It's very interesting. We won't really get a good picture until like 5-10 minutes into the game at least.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, I casted QXC the other day, and I know a lot of you guys enjoyed that. And QXC said, we cast a game that both players went gas first, and QXC said, well, this is going to get really silly. And to be honest, sometimes it does. Sometimes you have Blue Flame against Blue Flame. Sometimes you have Banshees against Blue Flame. Sometimes you have Banshees on Banshee battles. And it comes down to two different things. Both players are doing two things. Defending against Harass while microing their Harass. Can you do both of those at the same time, and how well can you do both of those at the same time? Last night I was up late with Moonin, and he was playing a TVT, and he and his opponent went Blue Flame Hellions, and their dropships passed each other. And then he was just like, well, I mean, like, they both thought about dropping their Hellions out then and there. It was on Shakuris. It was like in between the bases, and neither of them dropped it. They just both went, and it was a crazy game, and that kind of thing just happens sometimes in this matchup. It was funny. Moonin and I were just laughing so loud. It was awesome. We probably woke up some some members of FXO. Is that why you woke up in the middle of the night last night unstable?
No, I didn't actually. I got my first full night's sleep in a while. I don't know what happened there.
Well, that's good. Sometimes it's difficult to sleep in a pro gaming house. I'll be frank with you guys.
Those people who snore, gotta love them.
Yeah, you guys can probably predict who snores the most on our team. I'm not going to say anything. You guys can probably predict. So neither of these players taking their second gases just yet. In fact, both of them making that starport now. A Hellion coming out first here for Keen, though. He hasn't made his tech lab yet. In fact, he started the second Hellion. Now making a tech lab. I'm kind of curious to see what he's going to do. His style here, his opening hasn't been made obvious to me yet. Hellion coming up here to scout. Is going to take out this SCV. And he does kill it.
Well, the advantage that Nada has here is he has walled off the front. At least to the point where you can stop things coming through. We do have a Banshee coming out for him as well. But if we have a look back at Keen's base, he's also got a Banshee.
Yeah, he's actually using these Hellions quite a bit, though. This Hellion running forward. There are Marines on the high ground. That's one feature of Belcher Beach that I really like. You have that one high ground area that makes it a little bit easier to defend. What I think Keen is going to try to do here is continuing to make Hellions. He's got 3 out. He's got that 4th one on the way. He's going to try to keep the Marine count low with these Hellions and then use his Banshees to kind of clean everything else up. I think that's his game plan here.
Yeah.
Whereas Nada, I think, is going to make a command center here pretty soon. In fact, he's sending an SCV over. I think he's going to make it any second now. Now the 4th Hellion, or 3rd Hellion rather, has arrived. And there's the command center going down for Nada.
Nada can't really do anything with that main entrance there, as soon until the Banshee comes out. Exactly. There it is. So he's going to be able to pick off quite a few of those, but he's given away the fact that he does have that Banshee already. Both players do have a command center and a Viking in production as well.
Yeah, this is actually cool. I like Keen's build a little bit more because it's a very pressure-oriented build. He hasn't really committed anything to this. While he makes his command center, he's actually making it at the natural. Yeah. And obviously, we just saw Banshees fly past each other. Things can get silly when both players go gas first. Now we're going to see how good these guys' multitasking is. Here comes Nada's Banshee in here first. He's going to have to micro this against those Marines, and indeed he does. Taking those Marines out. But meanwhile, the Banshee of Keen is being controlled as well. Trying to take out a depot with that. Nice control on these Hellions. There's just too much on the top of the ramp, though, and it may have been a blunder to try to engage that. Now the Viking may take this Banshee out. One more shot will do it. Oh! Does take it out.
we actually have a Raven in production here for Nada.
That's really cool. I like that. Raven's very underused unit, especially in TBT. It stops Marauder shots, Viking shots. Auto turrets are quite good. Plus detection. You don't know if he's getting cloak or not, but if you have a Raven, it doesn't matter. Kind of. Stim being researched right now for Keen. Starting a tank up as well, whereas Nada is actually researching Blue Flame and starting to crank out Hellions.
Well, we've seen recently the metagame for TBT has shifted towards the Blue Flame Hellion tank composition. They take extra damage from the tanks. They actually spread out more so they don't do as much damage as well. It'll shift. I think we'll see it worldwide very shortly.
I think you're right. It's kind of like TBT in StarCraft 1 where you have a bunch of vultures running around. It's not exactly the same. In fact, it's very different. But what it is the same about it is that it's a very fast unit that can do a lot of damage to mineral lines, and it's harassing all the time. It's controlling the map all the time, and that's what vultures did in StarCraft 1. There's no Wraith-like unit yet, really, in StarCraft 2 that can kind of control the air. Vikings control the air somewhat. But again, you see the Vikings, you see the very fast ground unit that moves around. It's very similar, really, to StarCraft 1. For those of you guys who haven't really watched Star 2 yet and trying to look for a comparison, it's very similar.
Even when it comes to drops, the Blue Flame Hellions in the vacuum base usually do a lot more damage than just a drop of Marines stemmed as well.
Exactly.
Nada unfortunately being denied the watchtowers here.
Yep, we didn't get a shot of it, but the watchtower control has been given to Keen, well, at least one of them, but Nada going to send his Hellions over. Blue Flame is going to finish before he attacks here, so he will show the flame with this. Oh, just barely didn't finish. Close call there.
Yeah, we do see, I'm just having a look here, over at Keen's base, we do see him about to start upgrades. He hasn't really gone for this Blue Flame tank. It's more Marine tank. Let's see how that plays out.
Well, meanwhile, Nada is taking his third base at a much faster pace. This is something Nada likes to do in TBT a lot. He expands just as soon as he has the chance to make a command center, he just does it, no matter how often he expands or if he just made a command center. He's not opposed to making another one again. This is a pretty normal timed third command center, but I like how he's aggressively doing it. And in fact, he's floating a barracks around the middle of the map just to spot for drops. Something Keen is doing, similarly, is floating a Viking around just to make sure that no drops come into the north side of his base. Scan goes down there for Nada. He wants to know kind of what has my opponent been doing exactly. He sees that the Marauders are out, and that means that Nada knows that the Hellion composition is no longer a mystery to him. Yep. He's prepared. He's got the Marauders out. Marauders obviously do very well against Hellions. So obviously the Observer just showing kind of what each player can see there.
I'm just going to correct myself from before. It's actually more Marauder tank in the mix.
Yeah.
Really, I like it because he's noticed that Nada has gone for that Blue Flame Hellion tank composition. And this is really going to work well against him. He's actually got 2 dropships filled up with Marauders he's going to come across. At the same time, Nada being very active with his Hellions in the middle of the map, actually taking a lot of bases.
Yeah, he's actually taking, well,
it's not, he's got his third.
Right, yeah, he's taking that third base like we were talking about before, and he feels comfortable doing that, and I wouldn't be surprised if he took a fourth here pretty soon because he has those Hellions in the middle of the map that kind of control the map in 2 ways. Not only can they spot things and kill units, but on the other hand, your opponent kind of has to be prepared to come back to his base if something like this happens, although there are tanks in place here. Now, that barracks I was talking about earlier is going to spot these drop ships coming most likely. And he does see the drop ships, so he's going to be very prepared for this. And in fact, he's got Vikings coming over here, as well as a Raven. And this is looking very bad for Keen.
And he's even put a PDD down. Oh my god.
That is so sick. Puts the PDD down. The Marauders cannot engage next to it. And that's that, man. He puts the PDD down. Those Marauders can't even shoot the Hellions quite yet.
That was pretty damn sick.
That is sexy, man. I don't even know what else to call it. That was pretty sexy.
Yeah.
So, that is how you defend against Marauder drops.
Yep. Looks like it.
I mean, the Raven in general defends against so many things. If you have a Raven with a bunch of Vikings, if a Cloak Banshee rolls in, you've got the detection, you've got the Vikings there. If dropships roll in, same thing. If Marines come out of dropships, it can get a little bit hazy, but the idea is that hopefully none of the dropships really land a significant amount of units. Now, Marauders in the middle of the map, you're going to maybe engage. Tanks do siege up for Nada, though. And actually, he's chasing those Marauders away. They're going to do a little dance here because the Marauders can engage the Hellions alone, but if the tanks are there, they obviously have to retreat. The Vikings trying to control the air here, taking out a dropship.
But it is the downside to having a very Marauder-heavy army. You can't really deal with those Vikings that well. And just looking here, he is actually getting a 30 supply lead now, as Keen is only just now starting to try and get his third base up and running.
Absolutely. Now, another thing to note is that, like you were saying, it's very difficult to control the air when you're going for Marauders. And that means that later on, sometimes you see players transition into Banshees or even Battle Cruisers when they get ahead.
Yep.
Because if you have that air control, there's not really a good answer for Battle Cruisers. You can't make Vikings because he has too many Vikings. He'll kill your Vikings with his Vikings. So, middle of the map here being controlled yet again by Nada with those Blue Flame Hellions. He's got tanks at one watchtower. The other watchtower he's controlling. Looks like he's planning on taking the third here. And again, these Marauders kind of out of position. He's going to try to rush down these tanks, but Hellions coming to support here.
He's going to lose 2 more dropships as well to these Vikings coming across. There's just nothing really there to deal with it. There's one Viking coming back.
Auto turrets being dropped as well.
Yeah.
And Nada moving his tanks forward, getting a much better side of that engagement. Keen does get to retreat, but like you were saying, 30 supply lead really, and uh-oh, the ship weapons level 1's being researched. You know what that means. Nada has actually gone up to 6 factories. And what he's done here is he's doing the tank Hellion style that, like you were saying, it was a little bit new, but is starting to become the norm here in Korea especially. And he's kind of adapted it to, some players don't get that Viking heavy count early on, but this is something that Nada has actually done. He's already preparing to use the Banshee transition later if things get hairy. Barracks is spotted here. But it looks like Nada is actually going to try to catch this army. Does force it back, kills a dropship and a Marine. Nada just having control of those watchtowers in the middle of the map with this type of army is so important. Marauders can catch you unsieged only if you don't know they're coming. If you know the Marauders are coming, you're going to be sieged. You're not going to like pull an STC and just have your tanks unsieged at the worst possible moment.
We do have 2 more dropships full of Marauders going through, but I think it's going to be seen yet again.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. You know, he knows he's behind. He really needs to do something like this. But the problem is Nada has missile turrets everywhere. He's divided the entire map. This is something Nada does when he gets ahead in TVT. He takes so many bases and just constricts his opponent like an anaconda, puts up missile turrets, sensor towers. You can see the sensor tower is starting to pop up on the map a little bit. He's got missile turrets going up. These dropships are about to fly right into a missile turret. When I say right into, I mean right next to. This is pretty fortunate for Keen. He could drop those and kill the turrets, but it looks like he's going to go for the top right base instead.
I don't think he even realizes it's there just yet. There we go, he does go for the drop, forcing the lift up.
And again, this is the reason why you see usually orbitals, not planetaries here. You can lift that. Tanks starting to clean up here. The SCV is helping out as well. And this drop mostly shut down. He did kill a few tanks, killed a few SCVs. But the problem is, what he really needs right now is a sense of map control and map presence. And this drop, even though it could have given him that, it could have given him the opportunity to kind of run around with his ground army, he just didn't take it.
Well, there's really only 2 ways to Nada's base. Both of them have tanks positioned there. There's turrets everywhere as well, sensor towers. You can see everything that's coming. So he's going to have a very hard time dealing with that. Looking at the supply now, we're still at 30 supply difference, but he's going to be able to deal with that. And whoa, looks like we have an engagement and dropping those Marauders on top of the tanks. Coming
really
through
smart.
From the south as well. And now all those tanks get taken out, and he's actually pulled back, drawing those Hellions into the tank fire of his own.
Gotta do stuff like this to get ahead, but like you're saying, the flank coming through here.
There's still a lot of Marauders.
This is actually looking bad for Nada. He's losing too much here.
He is using quite a bit, but those Marauders definitely paying for themselves. The reinforcements tanks are going to keep him in it, though. Both players lost a lot of supply there.
And here's the thing, Nada lost a lot. Now, if Keen capitalizes on this and kills those last few tanks, which he's not going to do that, had he killed those last 5 tanks and then tried to pressure at the bases of Nada, it would have been good for him.
But we do have a nuke coming.
We do have a nuke. I did want to mention that. Hold on, I'm just going to finish my thought. The nukes just interrupt everyone, man. They're so rude. Like they interrupted Slog the other day in the team league. He was just, he was trying to counterattack, and this nuke landed on his army. It's very rude. Now this army's going to interrupt me as well, but nice moves here by Keen, taking out the sensor towers, taking out the missile turrets, freeing up this area. He needs to be aggressive like this after he wins a battle like that, because if Nada has 3 more bases than you and you win a battle, Nada's going to build your army in like 3 keystrokes.
Well, he is actually banking almost 3,000 minerals here, and he's actually only 10 supply up. He might be really gas-starved.
Yeah, it is. I mean, by the looks of it, you're exactly right. He's got a lot more minerals than he does have gas. Marauder's stimming forward here again, just trying to catch the units of Nada off guard. Against this style from Keen, you have to have a lot of tanks together, because if they're separated like this and on siege, it's very difficult to deal with it. Now, Nada's actually split up and is trying to flank here, but there may be too many units for Keen. Although when you have SCVs attacking siege tanks, it can go a lot of different ways. The tanks will fall here. Nada going to reinforce. He should be able to clean this up, but he did lose a lot of units. And Keen actually looking pretty decent at this point.
Yeah, he might actually be able to clean up a lot of these Hellions as well. A lot of them are on low health. Oh, that turret doing its work there.
And the Marauders look like they will escape. All of them on low health. If the Hellions decide to chase them, he will be able to take them out. But like I was saying, Nada has his tanks split up in several different groups, and against the style, you cannot do that. Nuclear launch detected.
Where is it going?
I'm trying to find it.
There it is. It's on the
there it
tanks.
is. Oh, it's on top of the tanks, forcing him to unsiege. Trying to nuke on top of that water so he wouldn't notice it.
You, of course, have seen this strategy before, nuking a tank line to try and get him to unsiege, then sometimes cancelling and rushing forward with your Marauders. We do have 4 Blue Flame Hellions.
And all these SCVs stacking up here. Actually, pretty decent splits by Keen.
Yeah.
A lot more than we've seen from pro gamers recently. It does lose a decent amount of SCVs, but the important thing is Nada is able to regain the Watchtower if he decides to. He hasn't moved forward on it again. That nuke was basically just to take the Watchtower and whoa!
Yeah.
During all that, a Marauder drop cleaned up the top right base. Nada falling behind in supply, not as ahead as he used to be, but that may change very quickly. In TVT, you have to be so patient, or these little things will happen.
Yeah, well, looking at the supply, they're fairly even, but Nada's force is purely tanks and Thors right now.
Absolutely. Tank sieging up here again. The nuke comes. He's going to be forced to unsiege.
Oh, I don't think he's noticed it.
Unless he just decides to go for the Ghost. He does go for the Ghost. I like that choice, because now Keen is in an awkward position. These tanks are sieging up in a really good spot, but there is a planetary.
Oh, he's actually too close to that planetary too. Here come the units come streaming in. The SCV's taking a lot of the damage first. Keen cleaning that up. And did he's dropping units on top of the tanks as well, dropping Marauders. Only had 2 though, unfortunately. There's a lot of tanks there.
Yeah, I mean, when you kill all of Nada's tanks, you feel really good, but when like 12 more tanks roll, you're like, whoa, what do I do now? And making a planetary can be good, but I think that making orbitals is much better in TVT. I'll talk about that in a second as as the reason unfolds. This siege tank can hit this planetary, and basically this planetary is no longer worth it for Keen. He can't fly it. If he repairs it, he's losing more money than he's gaining from mining from there.
But we did see another drop going forward here from Keen.
Well, yeah, it's just that same group of weakened Marauders. They may do a lot of damage, though. We'll get a shot of it here in a second.
Can't really stun them either. We do have more Marauders being dropped on top of these tanks. Oh, nicely done by Nada. Actually unsieging right at the perfect time. Doesn't lose any tanks. Oh, for Keen taking in the opportunity to come forward. Not enough tanks really for him here, though.
Oh, man, Nada dealing with this so well. Although his natural is under fire, or rather his third base, he does lose it. I'm surprised he didn't lift it when those Marauders came in. He's just doing too many things right now. Another drop. This could be really bad for Nada. As you guys have seen, Nada kind of struggles in these types of situations where his base is under attack. He's lost a lot of base raid type of games, and he just doesn't deal with that type of harassment very well. He's very patient. When things get thrown on top of him like this, he does kind of struggle. He's losing production facilities. His tanks are dying as they pop.
He's losing a lot of tanks.
Yeah, he is losing a lot of tanks. Right now, as far as workers go, Nada has half the workers of Keen, 27 to 53. This drop almost cleaned up, but not quite.
With the 2 drop ships on Marauders, they're just going to tear through almost everything that comes through. And oh, here we go, the Marauders coming back into the natural.
Yeah, I mean, those Marauders have basically no health.
At the same time, Keen coming through at the bottom here, trying to clean up all these tanks as best he can. He might actually do it, though.
I think he will. Nada is in trouble. He does have 1 Banshee here, which is something a switch he could have made a long time ago. I'm really surprised he didn't. And he's doing a lot of damage with that Banshee, but will it be enough? He's down 20 supply right now. But basically, we've got an interesting situation on Sable. Obviously, right now, Keen is going to be mining off of 2 bases as soon as his command center lands. Nada's mining off of 2 bases. It's going to become a battle of the compositions, and Nada cannot afford to lose these tanks.
No.
He can't remake them like Keen can remake Marauders.
He does still have the planetary at the gold, though. He's got his tank sieging up there. He's almost mined out at his natural, I believe, but he also has the top right-hand corner back up and running as well. But it's so far out of position, any kind of Marauder drop can hurt. At the same time, we see more Marauders coming in here to the natural yet again. I think it's the same group of Marauders.
It actually is the same group of Marauders. Now, something we haven't mentioned, guys, by the way, is that Keen's Marauders have 3-3 upgrades.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they just don't die. They're like that group of Marauders in the campaign that kill you on the train mission. Oh, here come the dropships now. A lot of these dropships on low health, but that doesn't matter. Tanks, Marines, Marauders dropping on top of these depots. Nada's army is nowhere to be seen. He's going to lose a lot here, and he cannot afford to lose these depots. He can't afford to lose these production facilities right now.
Needs to be careful not to move those tanks too far forward. He did lose that starport. I'm not sure if he has another one or not. I'd have to have a scan around. He does have one more, but losing a lot of supply depots at the same time. Keen running his units into some stuff. I don't know what he was doing there. But he's just taking out so many supply depots here, running around the siege tanks in the main for Nada. That Banshee's finally catching up, but he's actually taken Nada from 200 supply down to 100 by killing those depots.
Yeah, and he's in the red. This one Banshee is cleaning up the Marauders in the main base, though. A lot of action going on in the middle of the map. Nada's going to try to do some damage here with these Hellions, killing a lot of SCVs. Mules even going down. But those Hellions do get cleaned up.
Yep. These guys very close on supply and mining bases here at the moment, but it's just all the tanks just keep coming and coming and coming for Nada. There's no end in sight here.
There is no end in sight, and nice siege up here by Nada. Now he's got Keen in a spot where he can't really defend that orbital. He's going to try to drop units on top of these tanks, but here come the Hellions. There's so many tanks, I don't know if this will work.
Well, there's no anti-air. He's actually splitting his units up here by the looks of it, dropping those Marauders, getting a few kills.
Some Marauders stimming and running forward here. He may break through, but just not enough.
There's just too many tanks right now. He really needs more reinforcements to come through.
Those
Lifts up
SCVs,
oh, the SCVs are so clumped up.
They have nowhere to run,
No.
and they will all be taken out here. Nada taking a significant supply lead now. Keen, he just didn't take another base fast enough.
Yeah, that
He didn't
top
make another
right-hand
command
corner
center.
has been up too long for Keen.
I think he realizes it. He's sending a group of Marauders there. He hasn't scouted it yet,
Yeah.
but he knows now. He's like, oh, I get it now. This is why you have so much stuff. He's actually going to take out the gold base rocks that are blocking it on his way there, so he can take his own gold most likely. He needs to do that. He's got 29 minerals and 2,000 gas. Needs another base ASAP. And he's going to run forward here to attack this orbital, but Nada realizes what's going on. He's chasing down. All he has to do is lift that orbital. Does lift it. Things looking really bad for Keen now. He's got his Marauders positioned in such a way to where it's difficult for Nada to kind of attack this, but I think he just has too much stuff. Oh no, picking up was the wrong choice. Vikings targeting down those dropships. This could be the end for Keen.
Yeah, there's way too many tanks. He's about 42 to supply to 116. Really close game up until that top right wasn't scouted. Well, again, because he did take it out like quite a few times.
Absolutely. And, you know, now Keen is trying to take that gold. He's dropping as many mules as he can muster there to try to mine. But it's not going to be enough when you're 90 supply down, and Nada's already taken more bases. He's taken the 9, or I guess you could say 8 o'clock position base. He's got that gold base up. He's got the top right. He could retake his 3rd if he wanted to. He's already preparing to do that. Keen is going to lose this command center, and essentially he's now going to be put on 1 mining base, whereas Nada is on 4. Goodbye, Orbital. A nuke on the way, maybe just for, you know, to give himself some fireworks as he goes out here. Players have been known to do that recently, killing themselves with nukes. We'll see. He's trying to buy himself some time here with these Marauders, but how much time can he buy? Nada dropping the mules, telling him it's time to leave the game. GG. Nada in a few tough spots there in that game. To be honest, I didn't think he was going to pull it out, but he did.
It was very close. There was a lot of back and forth swings between them. But it really just came down to those extra bases. Even he's worried about the fire there. It's like,
Even someone like Nada can worry about the fire. High five and Jinro and Hawk top, the wind. See that top was in the same spot.
Yeah.
Unstable's not crazy. Now, for those of you guys who just kind of are sitting there like that guy at the bottom right, just kind of looking at the game going like, what?
Or bottom left.
Or bottom. If you guys are like those guys just looking there going like, well, how did this happen? Nada had this period where it just looked like he didn't have any chance. If someone asks you how Nada plays, you should link this bot, because Nada always makes another command center. He just does. And when Keen had the lead, he didn't make another command center. He continued to be aggressive, but if he had just saved up, not make 4 Mirage, make 1 command center, and just have 1 more mining base, he would have been able to kill Nada. Not only that, if he had scouted the top right and attacked that would have been another good thing he could have done. But Nada just overwhelmed him with so much stuff because he just kept making a command center. Every time he loses one, he's like pulls Nada out of his pocket and just drops it down. You know how the SCV builds a command center? He pulls a chunk of metal out of his pocket, throws it down on the ground, and it starts building itself. Nada's like that SCV, man.
Alright, so of course we do have a 3-1 lead now for oGs TL. Did not expect it to go this way straight away.
I'll be honest with you, we were talking about it before the game, and I thought that MVP would take it quite easily. I said maybe 4-2 victory. And I said, are they going to use the TL guys? I don't really know how that's going to come into play. We may not see anyone else. We're about to find out who we are going to see. I think it's going to be Dongregu. If they choose anyone else, I'll be extremely surprised. And there he is. He is the anchor for this team. He always has been. He comes in at the last moment. He's actually defeated so many people.
And it does work out quite nice for him because it is a ZVT, his strongest matchup
his strongest matchup.
But it is Nada.
Indeed it is. So, Dongregu there, you can see that he actually was the champion of the LG Cinema Special League number 2. And obviously look at his record there. Oh, I don't know, 8 wins, 1 loss, 88.9%. I'm pretty sure that's just for the team league.
Oh, I believe it is.
And that just speaks for itself. He is the guy you want to pull out at the last second. He's the one who... I don't know how else to say it. I mean...
Is that the most experienced?
Like, if they didn't pick him to do this, I'd be like, what are you doing, MVP? He's done this so many times. He's been a great anchor for this team. He's been the great, I don't know what else to say. He's just an anchor, man. He holds the team in place. We're going to take a 2-minute break. When we come back, can Nada take out Dongregu, or will Dongregu start a comeback?